Oh, no, there he is.
I'm here.
Were you busy?
What's going on?
Hey, man, not much, bro. How's it going?
Man, it's going well. Excited for football to finally be here, man.
Me too. Me too, man. It's so much trash talking and all kinds of other stuff going on. And man, I had to get you in here to talk a little bit. You know, you're hearing so much stuff coming out. It's always the lightning rod coming out of Colorado these days.
Yes.
Of course, last week, you know, you had Coach Prime in there refusing to answer questions from certain people, and you know, and then didn't you I just saw a video from you. I think it was from yesterday, wasn't it, where they made that columnist leave?
Yeah, they just skipped over his question. You know, it's again, I understand that when Deion Sanders is your coach, you're like, just these things are going to be talked about more. But you know, I was never expecting Coach Prime to just be a media darling his entire time here. You know, that doesn't really make sense. But
No.
It's funny the different battles, I guess, that you could say that he's had with different media members. Some of them I understand more than the others. I think the biggest one, and again, it's I find it pretty funny, is just this guy from the Denver Post, Sean Keeler, just has, again, he came out with an article after the season ended.
He's been ripping him for a while now. Right?
He called him a snake oil salesman, and it's like, hey, like, I understand if you just look at a 4-8 season, isolated, like how you can, but you gotta look at the starting point for this program. And even though we ended things on a 6-game losing streak, you cannot call him that. That is ridiculous.
A word that is lacking amongst college football fans and media types, and it's the word nuance.
Yes.
It's the word nuance. We were just talking about a QB controversy that isn't in Norman right now, because of a fucking practice. One practice that Jackson Arnold struggled in. Because and why did he struggle? Because they probably have the best defense in the country right now.
Yeah. And he's only going into his second year, right? His first year playing. Context.
Nuance. Context. Another good word. Yes. It's so crazy, right? Now, I will say this. I found it kind of surprising with the CBS deal. Now, and I wanted to ask you about that. There's a couple of questions I have for you that aren't going to involve this, because I could give a shit. But the CBS deal, that seems weird, because don't they like pay to have his show or whatever, like his coach's show?
I know. And that's what was kind of weird about it. Now, what a lot of some of the outlets that have talked about this, I feel they're kind of splicing up the whole comment that he made, because even though he said he's not answering that question, he went on to say, like, hey, this isn't about you. I respect you.
Right.
But it was clear that Coach Prime is trying to make a point.
Right.
He chose to make that point during that. I'm not totally sure what the CBS stuff is regarding. I know that Philip Dukes on 3 had a video that I haven't watched yet, but I don't think it has. Initially, what I thought, and a lot of people thought, was that it just had to do with the article of him being ranked the second worst coach in the Big 12.
So
I think it has to do more with the Shiloh stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody reported on the Shiloh stuff, though. That doesn't.
So I don't know. I need to watch that Philip Dukes video, and maybe that will provide some more context. But Coach Prime did tweet that video from Philip Dukes saying, like, thank you. This is what. Apparently, there's just something deeper going on. But it was kind of strange I will admit, to pick on a local CBS guy to try and make a point to the greater, I guess, CBS.
What do they care about the affiliate? They don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was a little odd, but again, it wasn't about CBS 4. Coach Prime wanted to make a point about CBS, and that's the route that he took.
Yeah. I get it. Look, you don't have to agree with it. I mean, it's, and I would say that I think that's a little much. I don't necessarily have a problem with what he was talking about with Sean. You know,
same here. That's what I care more about.
The guy a freaking snake oil salesman. What do you expect him to act like the next time you see him?
And then he came out and said he gave I think his article on Saturday was Coach Prime had a 4-8 season, but he gave a 3-9 press conference. And then, he showed up, tried to ask a question to Warren Sapp on Tuesday, and the guy from CU running the question said, "Next question." You know, he can't just show up with a smile on his face and
show up and go talk to Coach Prime about it. Work it out.
Yeah, because it's odd. It's odd, and that's kind of been his whole thing. Is again, it's shocking when you find out that he went to and got his journalism degree from Northwestern. The types of articles that he writes for both the Broncos and Buffs, I'm not a fan of. I think he does terrible work, and he's an embarrassment to that program, to Northwestern, to people like Michael Wilbon and others, talking heads. I think he's kind of an embarrassment. So I feel like he's finally getting some of the karma that he's been due to get for a very long time since he moved out here.
Yeah, I've never been a columnist at a newspaper. I've been in a lot of newspapers. Columnists' jobs are to kind of hold the feet to the fire on and always take that angle because, and it happens everywhere, by the way. There's a lot of columnists in the Oklahoma. I mean, how many folks in here, out of you Oklahoma fans, how many are fans of Barry Trammell? I'm going to tell you there's going to be very few that say yes here. He's been dogging on Oklahoma a lot lately too, which is kind of weird. But I think all in all, I think coaches definitely, they get their feathers ruffled by columnists easily, and I get it. Bill Plaschke's been taking Lincoln to the woodshed a lot lately too, which is, and rightfully so. So, it is what it is, but it's, whatever. It's, see who that person doesn't exist. That's who that's right. Yes. Call him a false prophet as well. Okay, guys. Again, I'm not taking this guy's side. I'm just letting you know that it's, it seems to be, here's what I would always say about that. The more that you do that, the more that you fight with the company that buys ink by the barrel, the less it doesn't usually go well for the coach in that situation. You're almost better off just to let it go.
Yeah.
But knowing Prime, he's not going to do that. So it's going to be how it is. He's going to say what he has to say. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. It's all good.
I think a lot of people can get confused of if you have a bad relationship with the media at large, that means that, the program that you're running is a total mess. I think it couldn't be further from the truth. I don't think, again, Coach Prime's ever going to be a media darling when it comes to answering the tough questions or dealing with some of these guys. But you can't make his statements with the media, or you can't judge how the team actually is based off of his responses with the media. And I think that's what a lot of people.
And I don't have a problem with that, but I'm not going there with that. First off, though, Big LT. Would they do Stoops or any other coach the way they do Prime? Yes. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. Because nowadays, they're doing it to BV, and he won 10 games last year. You're hearing it all over the SEC, how he's not meant to be a head coach. This happens. You know why they do it? For clicks. This is as easy I can make it for you, is that this is all for clicks. Yes, Saban too. Yes, Saban too. There's crazy fans everywhere. Look, when Saban, Miss Terry even got on Saban whenever he got on to what's her name from ESPN that time. When he ripped on her ass at halftime, even they got on Saban's ass. It happens. Yeah. It happens, man. In the end, I don't have a problem with the way that Deion's backing, he's going to back up his players, and you should do that. Close ranks now and do your job. Do your job.
Yep.
Speaking of doing your job, now let's talk a little bit about this. Obviously, 4-8 season. A lot of people, I've said this a bunch. I think that the goalposts moved when they beat TCU. Nobody expected them to beat TCU. They go out. What a game. Great football game. And so they win that one. They end up beating Nebraska the next week, and then they beat Colorado State. Now all of a sudden they're 3-0, and you expected a lot more. They only won one more game after that. But I understand where people were like, hey, look, well, here's what I don't understand is the expectations should never have gotten as high as they did. But once they didn't, they only won one more game. Then now you start hearing about how terrible it is. The fact of the matter is that program wasn't in great shape when he got there.
No. And a lot of people, again, want to look at last year as a failure, whereas that team is trash. No, you didn't watch the team prior. Like, it was still a much better team than what we had 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah. And there was games that they probably should have won later on in the season as well. The UCLA game, they had chances to be in that one. Hell, they damn near beat USC and should have beaten USC, but they should have.
We were beating Arizona until the clock expired.
And Utah, you were in it. You were in the Utah game too, and nobody thought you were going to be in that game.
Battle of the backup quarterbacks. That was a fun game, man. But yeah, it was good to see us hang in there with Utah. They're my upset. It's biased, whatever. I'm calling it. We finally get the monkey off our back. We finally beat Utah for the first time in quite a while this year. That's my hope.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. Hey, guys, I'm not going to put these things up on the screen if you guys are going to be just dogging on it. You're going to have to pay to get that one up there. All right, because I'm going to ask questions. If you're going to want that one up there, that one's going to cost you. Come on, Neilio. I know that you're not the big Coach Prime fan, but let's have some respect for my guy Dave. All right, talk to me about this. Who's the best position group in your opinion right now for CU? Because obviously the thoughts have to be to at least make a bowl game. I think that they're expecting a little bit more within the team. I think you have to say that if you're Coach Prime. Myself, I think if they win 6 games, it's a success.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no doubt. Let's get to that bowl game. I think right now our strongest position, it's still the wide receiver group. I feel I would love to say it's the offensive line. Maybe that's going to take another year before we're having that sort of conversation. But I love where we're at. We have a great mix of proven veteran talent that will be here for this year.
So you're talking receivers is probably the best group.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what I figured. Yeah.
The receivers. And I think they're better than what we had last year in terms of depth. I think that you saw once Travis Hunter got hurt, we had Omari Miller have that breakout game. Again, one of the biggest questions is, why do you get 4 targets after that for the rest of the season? And
a little weird, right?
Yeah, kind of weird, but it did after Travis Hunter went down. It did kind of show our
lack of
high-end talent there at the position. So yeah, we've brought in Cordell Russell from TCU, who's a big body. He'll pair really well with Omari Miller. We got, of course, Will Shepard and LaJohntay Wester. These are seniors coming in from Vanderbilt and FAU respectively that I think are going to be really good. And then, that also puts a spot or puts Jimmy Horn in a spot to where I don't think he'll attract the most attention from, defensive players or defensive coordinators. I think that he could still have a really good year this year, even with the added competition. And I'm feeling very good. And we even got guys like Draylon Miller that have been really impressing during fall camp, a true freshman coming in here that, people closer to the team than myself are saying that, you shouldn't be surprised to see him on the field this year. So plenty of weapons. Are we going to give Shedeur enough time to throw in a run game to balance things off of? That's going to be the real question, and we'll get a glimpse of that here in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, no doubt. I figured that was probably where you're going. And what's up there, Coach I? Good to see you in here as well. I figured that's where you're going, but I guess my next question is, are we going to see? I don't know if it's the right way to put this question or not. Let me put it this way. does Travis Hunter have to play every down this year for CU to be successful, or because I think he's gonna, but does he have to? I feel like with Omari and Miller and some of those other guys, they probably don't have to. So, do you see them possibly, trying to preserve him a little bit?
Well, that would be my hope. It seems like everything that we've heard thus far has been what we were getting last year, of just that Travis is going to play as often as he can, which is wonderful. It's a lot of fun. I do think if I'm looking particularly at Travis and his future outside of the team, he needs to get through a season of college football completely healthy. That's going to be a knock on him come the NFL if he has his third straight season of missing multiple games. And so the way that I'd want to take it is, hey, maybe you have him more in there on 2-minute and third down at wide receiver, playing him full time at corner, because we definitely need him there. But I think we got enough depth to supplement, to spell him a little bit more on the offense. But all indications right now are that that's not going to be the thing. But I think at minimum, I want to have him out there. 2-minute drive, third downs, like his chemistry with Shedeur is still above or on another level compared to the other players that we have. It's special. But yeah, that's going to be one thing that I'm keeping my eye on, is how many snaps they have him playing. I would love to bring it down a little bit, just because, yeah, you could say the Henry Blackburn hit from Colorado State was a freak thing. It was a dirty hit, all of that. But when you're playing 100 snaps, you leave yourself open to those moments.
Coaches talked about that a lot when we were talking about that before that even happened. And he was like, look, man, you can't play the guy 120 snaps and expect him to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I get it that he's a stud. I get it that you probably want him in situationally, at least. In fact, I mean, if he's your best player on the team, then yeah, you want him in. I get it. Yeah. But I think that you have enough guys receiver wise, and from what I can tell from him, and I thought this last year, that he didn't have to be in every play. It just didn't. It wasn't necessary. So, to me, probably more important that he's always playing cornerback, though, to me, because that was where they struggled as well. Kind of the next. I mean, obviously, running back situation, which would be another thing that would help kind of keep Shedeur upright. I know that the offensive line has been the biggest question for Colorado. You brought in Phil Lodeholt as the offensive line coach. We know a lot about him as far as Oklahoma fans are concerned. There's a lot of love there. You got the number one left tackle in the country, one of the top players in the country in the high school recruiting. Looks like you've picked up some guys along the way. What are the expectations there, and what are your expectations as far as the running game's concerned this year, especially when you lost a guy like Dylan Edwards?
Yeah, Dylan Edwards, and a guy that we've been waiting for a while, that he's going to get his first snaps back with Arizona State, and Alton McCaskill. We got a pretty much a new room when it comes to scholarship players. We've elevated our walk-on for the past few years, Charlie Offerdahl, to a scholarship spot, but we brought in Dallin Hayden from Ohio State, Isaiah Auguste from Arkansas. I think that those two backs are going to be the guys getting the majority of the split throughout the season. These guys are 5'11", 6 feet, I believe, over 200 pounds, so they should be able to provide a 3-down skill set. It just comes down to pass protection, I think, is what's going to dictate who is getting on the field more than the other. But offensive line, I feel so much better about the offensive line. Again, when we're having these conversations at this point last year, Jason, my hope and my expectation was that we're getting average offensive line play, right? We were so far away from that this past year.
Right.
Maybe I was just a year early with a lot of my expectations. I want us to get to average. Like, that's just where I want our offensive line play to get to. I think Phil Lodeholt is doing a great job, and I think he's going to get us there. Jordan Seaton, I think, has looked pretty good from what I've been able to see in team and one-on-ones. Of course, he's going to have his ups and downs as a true freshman, and the fan base needs to show a little bit of patience with some of our young players that are out there starting week one. But Justin Mayers, guard coming out here from UTEP, highly coveted guy out of the portal this year, one of the top guards. 320 pounds. He's going to be a great asset right next to Jordan Seaton. Hank Zielinskis, this just goes to prove the development that Coach Prime and the staff are having in terms of the strength program, in terms of the work Phil Wilholt's that he is doing. But Hank Zielinskis, a guy that Coach Prime brought in here, a local guy from Colorado last year, got a little bit of time with injuries to Van Wells last year, but we brought in Yakiri Walker from UConn, and I think a lot of people were expecting him to just be that starter. Hank Zielinskis just went to work, man.
Won the job.
Yeah, he won the job all the way out in spring, it seems like, and
awesome.
he's been running with the one since. So a lot of people that are just saying like, hey, you're not developing here. Hank is a case that shows that is happening, and I think when you're getting to the point where you got some guys in your program for a year or two that are developing to beat out some of the transfers that you bring in, I think that's a good sign of health for the program. So I feel great about center and the left side. The right side of the offensive line is where we're filled with some different questions. Savion Washington's out to Syracuse now. So we brought in Khalil Benson from Indiana, who I had felt has always been would fit better as a guard than a tackle.
Right.
But he's played a lot of tackle. He's played a little bit of guard. That is a little bit up in the air. We've been kind of mixing and matching him and Tyler Brown at right guard and right tackle a little bit. I'm not really sure what the right tackle position is going to look like.
At least sounds like you have some depth there. Then that it's not just the first fight, because as we know, injuries happen. So that's important. Okay, look, about the only thing that I really have too much of a problem. I don't care about most of the other stuff, because I think that Coach Prime's definitely different, but what he's doing is definitely bringing eyes to the program. It's bringing players to the program as well. Now, and whether it's great and whether it's good media or bad media, it's still a lot of people that are paying attention. And so that's a good thing. If you're selling out the stadiums and you're doing that kind of stuff, there's more to it. The next thing is obviously to win. Now, one of the other things that was probably a big hindrance of that is trench play on the other side. You had zero depth. You were able to, but going in and getting those kids out of Pitt, I think was a big move there. And then they weren't the only two kids they got, but they were studs, both of them. And I know that's got to be big. And because if you're going to have a good secondary, you have to have some push up front. Obviously, Warren Sapp being coaching them on that, I think there was a lot of controversy there as well. But he seems to be making a pretty good impression out there.
Warren Sapp has been a great fit. He's been everything that I was hoping we'd get with him. And other Miami Hurricane, Damian Lewis, running that defensive line. The edge room, I feel like, is one of our most improved positions this year. Last year, it was just kind of Jordan Dominic and a bunch of other guys. That's kind of how it felt. And obviously, he's no longer here. He's off to making this Falcon squad, I believe. But yeah, bringing in Deion Hayes, Samuel Okunloa, courtesy of Pat Narduzzi over at Pitt, it's fantastic. It's wonderful. It's poetic. All of those things. Deion Hayes, I think, is going to be one of our starting edges. Samuel Okunloa is probably going to be that main rotational guy, because we also brought in another big-time starter from Arizona State who was going to go to Washington until all the coaching stuff switched, and that's BJ Green, in all conference level talent at the edge position. I believe Deion Hayes and BJ Green graded out in the top 100 of all of college football in terms of like PFF stuff. So of course, take that with a grain of salt. But when you're looking at like Colorado's edge room last year of like, oh, most of our guys are ranked like in the 500s or 600s or whatever for the position. The fact that we're bringing in some guys who have our top 100 in their position last year at the Power 4 level, I think is really it's a really good sign. Keaton Wade's another guy that we brought in from Kentucky, part-time player, but he can kind of play all over. He's somebody that I wouldn't be shocked to see play a little bit of linebacker as well. The edge room is coming along well, and one name to keep an eye on is Taj McCoy, a 3-star guy that we brought in last year that has been kind of running in that 2 deep quite a bit, even though we've brought in like 5-6 edge guys from the transfer portal this year. So kudos to him putting in the work and developing.
Yeah. Hey, Benji, it was the high school playing both ways comment. You earned the timeout, bro. Come on. Come on. You start with the high school. I went both ways in high school. Come on, bro. You're not Travis Hunter. Let's not go there. He says I was a warrior. Are you trying for another one? Oh man, what's up? All right. Yeah, look, all right. So the feeling is around obviously at media days or SEC Big 12 media days had CU picked to finish 11th. That's and there's of course you've got 16 teams, so that's not all the way at the end, but they're not thinking highly of him.
Yeah.
And what they're going to do there, I would tell you that with a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders, who most people are saying he's a first round pick.
Yes.
If you have some level of not giving up 56 sacks this season, which some of those I think you have to also put on Shedeur for holding the ball a little longer, right? I don't think it all goes on your offensive line.
No.
But I would also tell you that I believe Shedeur is the first round pick, and if you in a league like the Big 12 that is going to be competitive, if you can keep him upright and run the football better, and if this offensive line is going to do a little bit better, I mean, 11th says you're going to have another losing season to me. Yeah. I don't really see that. I think they're at least 6-6. I could see them winning 8, but I don't necessarily see Colorado winning the Big 12. I don't think that's and I don't think that's realistic even. That being said,
I like the idea of staying a dark horse. Don't put that expectation on us right now. Like that doesn't help anybody. So
agreed.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. Look, I just don't think it's that realistic, but I do think that with somebody like Shedeur and with the weapons that you have, if you can play a little better defense and keep Shedeur from getting hit every other play, then you're going to have a chance to at least spoil it for somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people need to be reminded of this is that, we went from 2022, our average margin of loss being close to 29 points in 2022 to where most of our outside of the 2 losses to Wazoo and Oregon, all of our losses were decided by single digits. So we did take a significant jump in just like our competitiveness every game. And I think you'll see us win some of those closer games this year, which is why I got us making a nice little jump again. So I predicted 8-4 last year. I'm just going to double down on it again. I'm just going to right now, my predictions 3-0 and we go 5-4 in conference, and that's it. I can't have us losing to Nebraska. I can't have it happen. It's been over 5,000 days since that program has beat us. I'm not picking them to beat us until they prove it.
Nebraska?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a fun one. That's something I didn't really realize. I've watched your show quite often. You know this.
Yeah.
I didn't remember is what is the right way to say this. How heated that rivalry was.
It's fantastic. I wish we were in the same conference. Like, I wish we had that. But we hate each other, and it's a wonderful rivalry. It's fantastic. I think Mike's in here in the chat. He's my friendly Nebraska fan that shows up. Sometimes we'll have Husker Rascal or show up as well. But it's great because we got 2 coaches that are building their teams completely different ways, and they're in the same spot.
So he's being facetious here. He says Uncle Neely said 3 deep on both sides.
Yes. Yeah, Uncle Neely's always going to hype up to make this roster feel like it's NFL talent. But I have been asked this recently, Jason, and I'll just say it on the show. Then I got to get going.
But I got to let you go. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I think Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders are our first round picks. Oh, yeah. But outside of that, I'm hoping we get a few more guys drafted. I don't think we have any day one other talent on the team other than those 2. And if we end up winning the conference,
Charlotte's going to get drafted also.
He'll be a day 3 guy, I think, just because he'll be like 25. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen.
But I think we'll have like 4 or 5 guys picked. That's my expectation.
Sure. Okay. Well, give us what do you finish this year? What's the record?
8-4, and I hope we go to the Pop-Tarts Bowl or Snoop Dogg's Bowl.
Snoop Dogg has a bowl game.
Yeah, he's got the Arizona Bowl.
I love it.
Yeah, just put us in one of those games.
I love it, man. That's awesome stuff. Listen, I can see them winning eight games in this league. I do think this is the most competitive league all around, as far as I think there's a lot of parity there. So while I don't pick them to win the Big 12 conference, I do see them making it hard. When you've got Shedeur running things at quarterback, I think he's a first rounder. He, most definitely, obviously Travis Hunter's a first rounder as well. Yeah. We'll see what happens, but I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Tell everybody how to find you.
David Talks Buffs. If you want to talk Bo Nix and Broncos, baby, David Talks Broncos on YouTube. We're almost at 1,500 subscribers.
Bo Nix. Sorry.
Yeah. If you want to follow that, and then the reclamation project of Zach Wilson, who might have been the best looking quarterback on Sunday. Got some film rooms coming on those guys this week. So thanks so much, Jason. Let's make sure we're doing this regularly in the season once it starts. Okay.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Probably some good news coming up shortly. I'll be getting a hold of you anyway. So
okay, that sounds perfect.
Good
Thanks again for having me on.
Talk to you soon.
All right, bye, y'all.
David Neal from David Talks Buffs. Appreciate him coming in the show today. Guys, appreciate all you guys coming in. You Oklahoma fans and all my regulars in here giving me a hard time and giving Dave the hard time. Come on, fellas. What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Let's see. Give us my CU record prediction. I think they at least go 6-6. I could see them win 7 or 8 games, but I think they at least go 6-6. Hey, look, it's not like the Big 12 is the best conference in the country. So it's if you follow college football very much, and just take a look at Caleb Williams a couple years ago. They were 4-8 before they showed up and won 11 games. It can happen. When you have the right quarterback, just keeping him upright can be the difference between a winning record and not being very good. I would just tell you that I mean, we've seen quarterbacks look at that. Jaden Daniels carried LSU with the worst defense in LSU history to 9 wins last year. So I would just say that, that's one of those deals. It's one of those deals. Let's see. What are you laughing at there, T-Boomer? 5-7 losses: Nebraska, UCF, K-State, Arizona, Texas Tech, Utah, and Oklahoma State. Purple, I don't know that I could see the 5 losses. I don't see them having a losing record again. But because can they lose to all those teams? Sure. Oklahoma State's already got an injury. It may not be a season-ending injury like they're talking about, but if Ollie's hurt before the season ever starts, that's not usually a good sign for a running back. He's already banged up. And if you believe in Oklahoma State all the way, when they got to go to Boulder, I don't know. I can see them losing that game. Especially if it may be for a spot in the championship game, that's a game they'll lose. It's a game they'll lose. Big 12 better than the ACC. Is it though? I don't know about that. I think there's some highly competitive teams in the ACC. Clemson, shell of its former self, maybe, but they're still pretty good. They did. I will give you this. Hey, far be it from me to love on that team. What I'm telling you is things that the ball can bounce certain ways a lot of times. 9-3, we're going to blow out Nebraska like we did last season. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I think that that's going to be one of those games that it's going to be a tough one to win for Colorado. In year 2, they have an actual quarterback. Now, what I would say is you have an opportunity to win that game because of the fact we don't know with the freshman quarterback, you don't know what's going to happen. The reason that y'all ran away from Nebraska last year is because they didn't have a quarterback that could throw the ball at all, period. And you needed to have that. So, I don't know, man. I mean, relative to the league they play in, I think if you're comparing leagues, I don't necessarily agree with that. Coach I, what's up there, USCJ? Welcome into the show. Appreciate you. Oh, Bo picks, yeah. I don't think that much of Bo Nix. So, no more than 4 losses, huh? The big one says. Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. I think that 4 losses is probably a little. I definitely think they probably have 4 losses. Is that's what you think there, Shawty? He's a better DB or a better wide receiver than a DB? I don't know. I think that it's tough to tell when you're playing them 100 snaps. I don't like that, playing them as much as they play him. I can understand sticking him in situationally the way that they used to with him whenever he was in the NFL. I understand that. Maybe have him returning punts, something. But, because he can affect the game in good ways, especially in important times of the game and stuff like that. To add somebody out there that can be a difference maker, I can definitely understand doing that. Playing both ways all the time in Division I football, I don't see it. It didn't work out very well for him last year, so I don't think it's very good. Okay. Maybe so. The thing about the 11th ranked defense stuff there, Chris, what did I just say? Nuance. Nebraska plays in the Big Ten. It's the same thing I've been saying about Iowa too. I know they have a good defense. They always have a good defense, but they play a bunch of teams that just try to run 3 yards in a cloud of dust all day. And they didn't have the toughest schedule last year because that was when they were still in the division thing. They didn't have to play all the best teams. Ranked 11th in the Big Ten, not exactly the same as ranked 11th when you've got a bunch of great quarterbacks and every team is full of quarterbacks and offenses that are going to go out there and put up big numbers. Go back and look at their opponents at Nebraska in the Big Ten and tell me how many of those were like juggernauts offensively, because there weren't many. Same thing for Iowa, but yeah, I think that secondary is a lot better too. The reason everyone ran away from Nebraska is they're not getting better and winning tight games. It was their first year under Matt Rule. I think they're going to be a better team moving forward, but we'll see. 2019 Baylor with Matt Rule this year. So playing for a conference championship then? I'm talking about relative. I'm not talking about overall. I'm saying relative to the conference they play in, the quarterback situation is very similar. I'd put Shador up there with anybody. I'd take his ass over Quinn Ewers any freaking day. Any day. So the receivers they got, it's not a problem with their skill guys. It's not a problem with their skill guys. Now, running back wise, they've got to get a little bit. I mean, I think it was probably one of their toughest losses had to have been Dylan Edwards. I think that was a huge loss for them. Huge loss for them. But again, and then offensive line, sure, okay. But honestly, though, as far as the offense is concerned, I think relative to the conference that you play in, yeah, it's pretty comparable. Yeah. Nobody's hiding. Not going to be able to do it. That's what I was getting at. I said, and when I was talking offenses earlier, I said relative to the league that you play in. You're the one that wants to make that, you want to make that comparison. I'm telling you that when you start looking at offenses in that league, they have a chance to be one of the best offenses in the Big 12. They just do. He had a great passing numbers. He looked really good. He was on his ass a lot, got 56 sacks. Again, I wouldn't put all of those on that offensive line though either. Yeah, Hayden did. Okay. And I can see that. That's good for them. But I mean, again, I don't know that I think that guy's better than Dylan Edwards, although Dylan Edwards was a freshman, but I know that helped out K-State a ton though. They already had a really good running back situation already, but when you add in Dylan Edwards with that, now they got a monster, a two-headed monster there. Not to mention the fact that their quarterback situation is really good too. I think I've been picking K-State all up until this point. They're going to win this conference, I believe, as well. I think there's a number of teams that could win it, but my favorite team for it is going to be K-State. I think that they're going to win it, but and I think that Dylan Edwards was a big loss. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to go find somebody, because they will. That's the one thing about Coach Prime. He doesn't really want to go and have to recruit out of high schools, because you have to understand he is trying to win with his sons while they're there. I can certainly understand that stuff. But I can also certainly understand the criticism for that too. I get it. I think that he's recruiting in a way and he's after guys that are in high school at the point right now that he's trying to show that if he's not staying there, no way Juju is even considering going there. No way. And the truth is, if he said before that he doesn't want to coach NFL players, I would tend to agree with that. I don't think he does want to. And he's making more money than he's going to make anywhere else. And you're not going to get another head coaching job in college until you turn that thing around at CU. So I don't really see him leaving right away. I just don't. I knew that was coming. I knew Coach I was going to jump in there and have that to say. I said it was similar. Relative, Benji, you're having a hard time understanding today. You're having a hard time understanding. Get the words that are coming out of my mouth here. I said, just like at LSU, a quarterback can make a huge difference. A huge difference. They had a historically bad defense for LSU, and they still won 9 games. That's what I said. I'm saying that relative to the conference he plays in, they could win a lot of games this year. They're definitely gonna win more than 4, in my opinion, if they keep that guy upright. Period. The Big 12 isn't, and on top of that, the Big 12 wasn't the toughest conference in the world. It's competitive, but it's not like you have to go up against all those SEC teams. Quarterbacks matter. Quarterbacks matter. That's the point I was trying to make. You're making it about LSU. I was making an example that LSU should not have been that good. Damn. Indiana opening up the bag, huh? Shit. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, well, yeah, and we were talking about the running back room, but yes, I agree with that too. And you look, you're hearing your guy talk about. Hold on just a second. What we got here? Listen, I mean, we've heard Avery Johnson talking about he doesn't want to just be a runner too. You know, he's fast and we know that he can run and all that kind of stuff, but you probably need to stay healthy. And if I know, you know, knowing Matt the way you know him, he's not going to want him putting himself in a lot of danger either. You can't afford to have him go down really. So if you've got good receivers, you've got good running backs, why do you need to run Avery unless it's just necessary? You know, it's good that he can run though. I do like K-State, and I think defensively they should be better than they were a year ago, which I thought they were pretty soft on defense last year for whatever reason, but it just didn't come together the way you expected it to. And I don't know. I think they're going to be better. I think they're going to be a lot better team this year. Yeah. Again, this is why I think that I think you got to show NFL programs that you're going to be good too. Even if he was going to go coach in the NFL, I just don't. I don't really see another option for Coach Prime other than to stop coaching. If at this point right now, you're either going to stay there and continue on with this, and from what I can tell, I believe that he has. I think that he's going to stay loyal to Rick George for hiring him. I think he much appreciates getting the opportunity and the ability to go over there, and he lets him run his program the way he wants to. I mean, I don't see that this is a bad deal for Deion, and he doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks about him, and he can shut people down in these press conferences just like he did. You know, so I don't really see that changing much. He's going to have to win at some point, but again, you're playing in the Big 12, not the SEC. Why can't you? You know, because he can recruit. I think he may need to change his philosophy on recruiting in the high schools. But if he does that, that could hurt a lot of other programs. I can tell you that much. I don't think Arkansas wants him. I think that Arkansas is looking for the Jeff Traylor type or Texas State's coach. Oh man, I always forget his name. He's really good though. He's not. I don't think they want him. Who? Now we're just joking. Now we're just saying anything today. Come on, Chris. Come on, Chris. You know better. He's a big play guy. He's a big play guy, and they didn't use him enough. But I don't agree with that. And there's very few people that are making agreements with that. I know everybody at CU wants to dog every kid that wants to leave, but that's not the way to go about it either. As far as comparing them, that's what I was talking about. But I'm telling you that as far as look at what happened last year, that they were able to go out and win a Heisman with him and win 9 games in the SEC, even though they had a trash defense. I'm telling you that I wasn't comparing or saying that they're better than LSU, for God's sakes. Come on. I said relative to the conference they play in, I think that the quarterback matters that much. You need to listen to the whole freaking part of it, Benji. Nuance, bro. Remember the word nuance. Getting on my damn last nerve. It's getting white. That prime beer is getting white. Yeah, GJ Kinney. I think that that's their number one target, to be honest with you. So you get 6 wins this year, Shawty says. We'll see. I think they get 6 wins at least. I could see them getting as many as 8. I think, they could get 6, but I don't really see them losing too many more than that. I mean, it's like I said, I think that the Big 12, when you start looking at the Big 12 overall, there's a lot of those teams in that league that I think they're going to beat up on each other all year long, man. I could see them winning a game or two that they shouldn't win. Could definitely see them losing a game or two they shouldn't lose too, though. Well, okay, yeah, he's not a bruiser back. Yeah, I'm not thinking of. I'm not exactly looking at Colorado as a bruiser team though either. That's gonna 3 yards in a cloud of dust them. So. They're going to play hard. It's going to be a good season. I think it's going to be a fun season to watch in the Big 12. I do. I think it's going to be a blast. Deion's not getting the Penn State job, Christopher. No way. No way. Why wouldn't you watch the Big 12? Why wouldn't you watch the Big 12? If you like college football, you watch it. I watch every conference, by the way, but just me. Hello there, Shirley. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. I think this is going to be. I think it's a lot of fun football to watch in that conference. I think that there's some matchups that you can't wait to see. I'll tell you this one. I hope that last game of the regular season is Colorado against Okie Light in Boulder. If Okie Light has a chance to get to the conference championship game, you can bet your ass CU wins. I said it first. Yeah, come on. Come on, man. Pop back in. You can get in here and defend your Buffs. BYU and Oklahoma State? No, not necessarily. I don't, but so you go and pick like the one that you think is going to be the least competitive. Is that what you're doing there, Bevo? I watch all games, bro. I don't care what conference they're in. I like college football, so I'll watch them all. But that's just me. And I do believe that there's going to be, look, what I will tell you this, the Big 12 has some of the best fans in the country. They get behind their football teams. BYU and Okie Light could be competitive. It could be. I think BYU's didn't really do themselves very much as far as finding a quarterback. I'll tell you this. I don't think Nathan Bomber Brown, and he's always high on BYU, and I don't think that he's very high on them this year. They're still a year or so behind in their recruiting. I think that that's just what's going on. But I think that long-term, BYU is going to be a player in this league. No doubt about it. Hold on. What up? He's back.
back for round 2. I was just having so much fun. I had to make sure I took care of that meeting real quick.
No worries. No worries. Thanks for coming back in. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so you said I got to defend. I got to defend. What's going on? Am I getting railed in the comments?
Hey, I've been trying to fairly defend, but mostly against a Texas fan that's talking shit about just. I mean, it's mostly about what I was getting. The point I was trying to make was this, and I've told you this one before. I was basically saying when you have a quarterback that's that good, a first round talent kind of quarterback. Very similar to the way USC did with Caleb Williams in their first year from going 4 to 8 to 11 wins.
Yes.
Same with last year. If you look at what LSU did with Jaden Daniels and the worst defense in their history, probably, and they still won 9 games. So it's not out of the realm of possibility relative to the conference that they're playing in that they could go win 8 or 9 games. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Do I think they're going to win 9? Probably not. But it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Totally not. I'm just not. Some people want to put that expectation on them coming out, and I just think they haven't proved that. What's really fun is that I think we're going to get a pretty good indication of really how different or how similar this team is to last year's, even just week 1. I'm not too concerned about the score when it comes to North Dakota State, but I do think that we still need to beat them in a way in which we don't leave any hope and where we show that they don't belong on the field with us, but this is the first game that we're going into favored since Stanford. And how we handle that, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us to show, okay, have we learned some of the tough lessons that we should have learned at the end of last season? Is it going to make us better? Because, you could argue that we were maybe 3 different in-game coaching decisions away from having 7 wins, 6 wins.
Okay. Listen, I think so too. I to be honest with you, I also think that USC let you come back into that game, but you could have won it if there was a little bit of at the end of the game. If they did have just a little more urgency, they might have won that damn game.
Yeah.
Right? You shouldn't have lost the Stanford game. No damn way you should have lost that one.
Oh, it was so depressing, Jason, being at
that one game. Was bad. Yeah, that one was bad.
That was the worst.
The Arizona game, you should have won that one too. And then look, but the fact that you, with the backup quarterback, you were in the game with Utah, because look, it's not at that point, backup versus backup is whatever, but everywhere else, Utah should have been completely superior.
Yeah. And you got a little glimpse of what Pat Shurmur kind of wants to do with this offense, I think, and I think, again, we'll see. I think the fact that Pat Shurmur can call plays into Shador's helmet this year, that's a bigger advantage for us, just because he hasn't had to convert, his whole playbook to all these hand signals and, all that sort of stuff in the college game, right? But
I don't know. To hear Ohio State tell it, they knew for 2 damn years that Michigan was still in signs, but they still stole their signs the last time they beat them.
The signs are meant to be stolen, man. Connor Stallion's an American hero. We wouldn't have these radios in the quarterback helmets without him, man. He's an American hero. But you're going to see some more, I think, 11 personnel this year, some more pistol. I think I just don't – it's hard for me to believe that you're just going to see empty or 10 personnel 90% of the time with Pat Shurmur. And I just do have more confidence this year, because even though Pat Shurmur's a little bit crusty, not going to lie about that.
I think he's a hell of a lot better. He's a better coordinator, though, than he is a fucking head coach in the NFL. Yes. So I think that it should work out there. I don't think that that's a bad issue there as far as that goes. Now, do I think they probably could have gotten somebody a little better for college football, better suited? Maybe. But to be honest with you, Coach Prime wants to run this like it's an NFL franchise. So go ahead and let him do it.
Yeah. He wants NFL guys in here. And what I do appreciate is that he doesn't waffle on his conviction or his strategy. Like, he has built this team the way that he's wanted. He's assembled a staff, to that vision. So it's going to be fun to see how this looks in year 2. I'm I'm expecting another step. That's what I'm expecting, and then we'll see kind of what happens after that. But I do think when you got, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the Big 12, and there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the Big 12, but you should be able to win a lot of these games.
If he's not one, he's 1A. It's either there's one guy that might be better, and it's Daniels at Kansas, but he has to stay healthy.
Yes.
But to me, as far as dynamic quarterbacks are concerned, I think that Jalen Daniels is better. But I have to see him play a full season, and I do think that Shedeur is absolutely talented. I think the idea that he's a second or third rounder is funny. The guy has everything that NFL quarterbacks need to have in his package. Everything. He can do all this. So he can run, even though they don't let him run. He can run. He can throw. He passed for 70% last year and only had 3 turnovers. Guys, if you don't give Shedeur Sanders credit for who he is, you are a casual.
Yes. You could argue that he was responsible for every 4 wins
if you want to.
Yeah.
You can talk shit about Coach Prime and the way he runs this program. You cannot talk shit about Shedeur Sanders and say he's not a good quarterback. If you do, you're a casual, especially Texas fans with Quinn Ewers. No, you would take Quinn in a heartbeat and send him to see you if you could to get Shedeur back.
Oh, yeah.
You know you would.
Yeah. Yeah. Am I going to – yeah, I guess I'll go this far and say that if Texas had Shedeur as their quarterback last year, they would have won the national championship.
They should have won it anyway, but that's neither here nor there. I got something for you on that.
The brand has finally returned. Fuck your brand.
I love that. Do you have like an official prediction, Jason?
Would I take Arnold? Would I take Shedeur today over Jackson Arnold? Yeah.
Yeah,
I would. We're talking right now this year, Jackson being a first-time starter, Shedeur having 3 years of starting experience under his belt already, and he's been good all 3 years.
Give him a defense. Watch out, man.
Yeah, I'd take him. And you know damn good and well you would too. You're silly talking if you don't say that. And I'm not telling you that I want them to go get him, and I'm fine with Jackson Arnold, but I'm telling you, if we're being real about it, if he's not the best quarterback in the country, he's damn sure one of them. You can say whatever you want to about Coach Prime, but you cannot talk about Shedeur and say he's not that damn good, because he is. He's not just gonna be a first rounder because he's Deion's kid. Shiloh is Deion's kid too. He's not gonna be a first rounder.
No. That's not how it works. But yeah, and all these Texas fans are gonna have to get on board, because right now I'm gonna put my betting odds on Jerry Jones to make a move in next year's draft if Dak remains unsigned. So
I could see.
I think that would be perfect.
I could definitely see him doing that. I mean, look, man, do I think that that's what they should do? Probably not, but Dallas always fucks that up. So
yeah, it's typical Jerry Jones, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you have to build the entire team. You know, the year he got CD, and I love CD Lamb, and I think CD's great. They needed a lot more than they needed other pieces for that football team, a lot more than they needed a wide receiver at that point.
Yeah.
They just did. I don't agree with this. Neilio, come on, man. You gotta all right. Again, I would tell you that I'm not picking them to win. I didn't give you I've got them at, I'll say 7-5.
Oh, that's right.
They'll go 7-5. I said anywhere from 6-6 to 8-4. Yeah. I'll say 7-5. I could see them as winning as many, maybe 9, but I think that a lot of things went really well.
Yeah.
In that case,
you stay healthy, and
a lot of people have to stay healthy. I think you have to catch a break here and there. You certainly need to have. I would hope that Coach Prime's on the same page with the offensive coordinator. I'm not sure that I'm ready to blame all that shit on Sean Lewis last year either. I would tell you that they obviously weren't on the same page, though.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Oh, totally different. And yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think
I don't think Sean Lewis and Coach Prime really had that respect that
I don't think they did
had.
either. I don't think they did either. I think it was probably a bad hire on his part. And not because I don't think Sean's good, because I think Sean's very good. I think that he's one of the better offensive minds in the country in college football. So, but I would also say that I just don't think it was a very good fit for that team.
And again, it's just hard to get or blame too much on the play calling when your line just can't block for 90% of the plays that you're calling. Like that's,
sure.
It was so frustrating looking at, some of these design run plays that we had, and like they're opening up fine, but you have a 280-pound guard like that is just getting blown up every play. Like,
well, we were talking about Dylan Edwards. I don't know how much and Chris was saying, well, he's not going to run it up the middle. Well, but that's not what they were really doing. I mean, I don't really see them turning into a 3 yards in a cloud of dust football team today either. So,
we just got guys that are 40 pounds bigger now in the at those guard positions. So that gives me hope.
Good news.
It's kind of weird because I felt better about our tackle situation last year than the interior line. This year, it's a bit flipped. I feel much better about the interior than I do where we're at with tackle. We'll see how that goes. Is altitude still an advantage? This is a good question, Benji, because I think we saw some of this last year doing some of the no huddle, the up tempo stuff. That works. I think we've all seen that works when you have, a defense kind of worth a damn. It kind of backfired on us quite a bit.
It can hurt you a little bit. It can hurt you a little bit because you're doing that and you're running your defense ragged too.
Yeah. So what I'm hoping for this year actually is I don't really want to see a lot of up tempo. I would rather us focus on time of possession, ball control, like that more pro style stuff. Because I think to get the most out of this defense, you have to have them rested. You just have to.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and it's the same thing we've talked about a lot about Oklahoma. And if they were to first off, I don't think they take a big step back on offense. And the last thing I'm worried about at Oklahoma is offense. In order to win, though, in order to be in the SEC, you have to be a better defense. You have to play well in the trenches. You got to start with defense to win it. There's no two ways around it. That's clear. To win the national championship, you have to start with defense. In order to do that, sometimes you need to be complimentary.
Totally.
And so if you have a bunch of 3 and outs, that doesn't help. Or sometimes if you're a quick strike team that you score on the first or second play of the drive, that can hurt your defense as well. So if Oklahoma was to take a step back as far as they don't have to average 500 yards and 50 points or 40 points or whatever it is, you don't have to do that. You could average 300 or 400 yards and 30 points and 35 points, something like that, and still be. It's about when you score and about doing it at the right times. Mm-hmm. Being able to score quick isn't the same as having to either. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So complimentary football is the name of the game. We know that. I think there's got to be some kind of a balance between, and I think Oklahoma's still going to be a tempo team. So it's not going to completely slow down. But in the end, you have to help out your defense a little bit, man. Mm-hmm. Be on the field for a little while. Give them some time to breathe.
That's a good question I got for you, Jason, is that do you see just the offensive philosophy changing a bit with going to the SEC compared to being in the Big 12?
It's the same set. But I think you're going to see a lot more running. And they've built this running back room there's a lot of talent in there. With Taylor Tatum, I think that he's a true freshman, but I don't think you're going to be able to keep him off the field. And they've got with Gavin Sawchuk, he's a stud, man. He's a stud. If he can stay healthy and Javonte can stay healthy, you've got a three-headed monster that can do a lot of things. I would say, I would tell you that I know that they're it's important to them, and the players are talking about this right now, that we run the football a lot more.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I think you really need to do that anyway, especially if you are concerned about the offensive line in any way. You need to run the ball because you need to make sure that you are letting the clock run a little bit, and you're not putting your quarterback in a bunch of danger. Now, I would tell you that we're not worried about the offensive line as much as everybody thinks they are. But that's just me. But I'm not gonna get into all that shit today. But I would tell you, yes, they're gonna. I think that in today's offenses, and I would tell you that Lincoln Riley proved while he was at Oklahoma that you can run an air raid offense and run the ball very well.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed to forget that last year. But when he was at his best, they were running the ball downhill. That yes, they had good quarterbacks, and yes, they had good receivers, but they were running the ball downhill.
Yeah.
You got guys like Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, they had studs that ran the football in that offense. Mixon and P. Ryan. I mean, you know, we could go with a list here. They could run the football. So you got to be able to do that and not get too crazy with just blowing up, you know. I'm good with it. Go run the ball a little bit, sustain a couple of drives here and there. If you could even have a drive or two less per half, that's probably all the slowing down that you got to do.
Yeah. And yeah, that's probably what you want to do with a first-time starter, especially. I mean, that
sure.
Not put too much on him.
But I know a lot of people are. It's the narrative that goes around the SEC these days, you know.
Yep.
One of the narratives that goes around the SEC these days. They like to talk about it, but I think it's overblown. I think it's a lot of hopium from a lot of the mid-level SEC programs that suck ass, like Texas. But
I got a question for you, Jason.
Yeah.
Has there been an SEC fan base that, you know, since entering the SEC that, you know, you're really Oklahoma fans are really developing a rivalry with?
I wouldn't call it a rivalry, but Missouri fans, aside from Rob, who's one of our favorite guys that comes into the show all the time, Missouri fans have earned the ass whipping their team's going to take this year. I would not call that a rivalry because it's not.
I love it.
But yeah, I'll tell you this: you get a lot more talk out of the teams that don't win the SEC. You know,
yeah.
Tennessee, Auburn, or Ole Miss, or yes, Missouri.
Yeah,
you know, it just is what it is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But you don't hear it from Georgia fans. Coach I and them ain't sitting there talking a bunch of shit. They may not be saying Oklahoma's going to beat them. They've got respect though. Alabama fans, for the most part, don't do a bunch of that crap. Some LSU fans do, but most of the LSU fans that I've dealt with, not as much either. Right?
Yeah,
I think that some of their media and content creator guys try to stir it up a little bit.
Yeah.
What
about are you excited about playing the team that I hate the most, more than even Nebraska, Texas A&M? Man, are you excited to be playing the Aggies again? That is one of the weirdest.
It'll be 2 years before we do. It'll be 2 years
real?
before we do. Yeah, they're not switching the schedule around after the first year. It's going to go to 9 games. It was a very lazy job, but what they're trying to do is get some more money out of the SEC to have that 9th game. But until then, you kind of need to preserve some of the old SEC rivalries that they're trying to preserve, and they want to make sure that Texas and Oklahoma are definitely going to play. That's not going to go away, but they want to definitely make sure that they can play Texas A&M those first 2 years to get to that three rivalries that they can, you know, lock in for all the time.
That's right. They're not doing pods. They're doing rivalry games.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, Ben, you're getting another one too, buddy. Getting sick of both of you guys. Got him. Just talking too much shit. Just talking too much shit. I do this for fun though. I put people in timeout for fun most of the time. It's just funny.
Yeah, now I'm starting to have some of the trolls come back now that football season is right around the corner. So I mean, everything's fallen into place. It's feeling right. Georgia and Bama fans.
What if they weren't winning natties? I haven't experienced that is what I'm getting at. The point is, Rob. And look, you've been I enjoy having you on our show, buddy. You're one of the few Mizzou fans that I can stomach, but the rest of them, they've earned it. It's gonna be real.
What's up, Bishop?
Bishop Frank? Yeah, man.
Yeah, I love Bishop, man.
He's my boy, man. Bishop Frank's the man.
Yeah.
Bishop Frank is the man.
No, he's fantastic. He needs to be praying a lot for our Buffs this year.
Tennessee fans are definitely getting annoying as well, Garrett. You're not wrong.
Oh, dude, I love that Tennessee show, the Talking Balls, man. Weird. They lost their mind when Jordan Seaton commanded the Buffs. That was such a fun stream to watch.
Did they?
Do you ever watch Talking Balls?
I have not.
No, dude, they got that guy that looks like he's like broadcasting from his prison cell, but he's probably not in prison. But it's just like a cinder block wall. It's hilarious, and they're all smoking cigarettes on the stream. Like it's the most Tennessee thing ever. I don't know if you knew this,
Rocky top indeed, is it?
Yeah,
Rocky top as it gets.
I don't know, Jason, if this is if they have this in other states. No, they don't in Texas, which, by the way, I'm moving to San Antonio next Wednesday. I am
really?
Yeah, I don't know if I told you that, but
you did not.
It's about to get hot as hell down there. But all that to say,
down there, yes, sir.
I was in Tennessee 2 years ago for my little sister's wedding, and I just remember walking into a bar there, and man, it shocked me. I saw the bartender carrying Bud Lights or whatever with one hand and had a cigarette inside in the other. You can still smoke indoors at certain bars in Tennessee. I didn't know that.
I did not know that either.
It's kind of nasty. But
and it's just, is it bars or is it restaurants and shit too?
Well, they were serving food there, but this was a bar that I was at where the bartenders were smoking cigarettes while serving their drinks. I thought that was so disgusting. We left that bar pretty quickly.
Yeah. It's a little different, right? It's a little different. I mean, in Vegas, you can still smoke in casinos and bars and stuff like that too. But bars, right?
Yeah.
Of course, at casinos, they ventilate the shit out of everything anyway.
Yes.
So it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me too much in Vegas, but yeah, that was weird. Anyways, talking Vols. Why am I moving? Just to be closer to family. I guess that's all I can say. But
I didn't realize so I thought they were living in Dallas, most of your family. Most of them live in San Antonio area now?
West Texas.
A good area. I like San Antonio.
Yeah, I got a lot of San Antonio. My mom's in Abilene, so not West Texas, so not too far away. So, but I do got family members out in Dallas, and then but most of my family and extended families in San Antonio. So, it's just our time. But I think eventually we will move back out here. It's definitely bittersweet.
Neelio, you are my main dude, bro. My K-State homie. Love me some Neelio. But you're my guy, man. But look, like I said, and I got love for you for hating on Missouri too. I got it. So that's But I mean, I just don't hate on Rob because it's poor him. I just feel bad for Rob because he's a Mizzou fan.
That's like Mike in Nebraska for me, man. Which, by the way, I don't know if you saw this. Nebraska's already down their left tackle, man.
Yeah. Fuck Mizzou, man. I'm over them. They talk too much. And Drink is such a nerd, dude. He gets on my last nerve.
And they got that offensive lineman from y'all, right? What was his name?
Yeah, that tampering Caden Green thing. Is
he going to start for them?
He's going to start as a guard, but they paid like he was a tackle.
Yeah.
And talked about him being a tackle. So again, Drink's a knucklehead. He's such a dork. And this is why it makes me laugh that so many people are picking them to go to the college football playoff when there ain't no fucking way. They're just saying no fucking way. It's not happening. I'm not buying it. So it is what it is, but it's fun. It's fun.
I haven't asked you.
The one thing I will say is I don't really mind all this shit talking. I think it's a lot of fun. I think the media hype and crap is kind of stupid when you see them talking really good about Texas over one freaking season, right? Over one season. And they're automatically elite, but then you hear them saying it feels like a lot of hope coming from them that Oklahoma's not going to come in there and be Oklahoma from a lot of the media folks. Kind of lame. But the good news is all the teams that were picked ahead of OU, 7 teams picked ahead of OU by SEC media at the media days thing, right? So they play 6 of them. So we're going to find out.
Yes,
we're going to find out.
Has Paul Feinbaum been saying anything about y'all?
He doesn't expect them to be great this year, but he's not hating on OU. He's not really hating on OU. There's certain ones that do, but it's always weird to me what they hate on them about. It's like nothing stuff most of the time.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I've wanted to ask you about this, Jason. If it's okay, realignment stuff. Do you see the SEC making a play for any of those ACC schools, or do they just not really care?
I don't think that they're trying right now at the moment. The SEC seems happy with where they are. When it's time to make a move, I think they've made it pretty clear that they would rather have Carolina and Virginia than Clemson and FSU. Yeah, who's this Fravel Edits guy? Yeah, I think that they. Yeah, we hear a lot of that stuff, but
Oklahoma sucks. They got beat by Kansas last year in Okie State. Arnold isn't it. Man, it sounds just like Colorado stuff.
it's similar. Yeah, you hear that stuff. But here's the thing that, again, what did we say earlier? That, context or, have a little bit of nuance add some nuance to the conversation. First of all, the Oklahoma State game, if you're talking about anything but the officiating, you can kiss my ass. Kansas is not Kansas as we know them anymore. And you're going to find that out in the Big 12 this year. If they keep Jalen Daniels upright, they're hard out. Lance Leipold is one of the best coaches in the country. Forget the Big 12, in the freaking country.
And my question is if they're able to keep him healthy, do you see Lance Leipold leaving for another job?
I think he's a Midwest guy. I think he probably takes the job like Penn State, maybe.
Yeah, Penn State's a great one.
If something were to happen, if they finally decide to pull the plug on James Franklin, I think that's. I could see him maybe getting the Michigan job if Sharon doesn't work out there. I think that he's perfect for that kind of job. He didn't take the Aggie job. Smartest thing you could have done, right? Yeah. Why take Washington in that situation? I don't know that. I don't know that Washington's ever going to be. It might work out for him, but I don't see him as being a West Coast guy. You know what I mean? I just don't see that.
Yeah.
What are we saying? Yeah, I'm just busting your chops, Rob. I'm just busting your chops, bro. It is what it is. Norman's a classic college town. If you haven't been to the game, you don't know the power of OU. Yeah, it's different, man. It's definitely different. Yeah. I don't know who this guy is, this Edits guy, but you lacking context and nuance or any of that kind of stuff.
He's coming from my channel.
It makes sense. Not that they're not everywhere, but because there's plenty of them here too. But yeah, it is what it is. I think they're going to be. Nobody's saying that Oklahoma's going to go in there and dominate the SEC. I have never said that. I've said nine wins this year, maybe 10. I think they can compete for their defense. This is not Lincoln Riley's Oklahoma. It's just not. So that's where I'm at with that. I feel like they got a coach in there that knows what it takes to beat SEC programs.
That's right.
Look, Clemson beat Alabama twice in the national championship game with him as their defensive coordinator. They're recruiting on another level of where they've been in the past. Bevo, you can walk.
Bevo's bodyguard. I love that nickname. I haven't even thought.
And DKR is named after a Sooner, right? You know, Darrell Royal. He's a Sooner. You love us so much that you named your stadium after us. Texas. Lost an edge transfer for the year. Injury bug is hitting a lot more than last year. It happens, man. Horns down.
Do you the brand has finally returned. Your brand.
I got to throw that in every once in a while, or it's just not a fun show.
14 big change.
He wasn't the head coach at Oklahoma, buddy. He worked for a good head coach, though. Again, since integration, Oklahoma owns Texas. It's just all there is. It's just all there is to it.
Will y'all still be playing the game at the Cotton Bowl?
Yeah. Okay. That's not going away. Good. Yeah, that's not going away. They're doing some upgrades to it, thankfully, I think, but it'll never, if they ever decide to take it away from the Cotton Bowl, it'll go to home and home because they're not going to do it at Jerry World. They could have already done that. They're keeping it at the Cotton Bowl, which is a great tradition. I love the Cotton Bowl. Great, fun stuff. If you've ever been to that game, you get it.
I want to go.
You can watch it on television and see that it's just unreal, right? Yeah. It's just it cuts them at the 50. Half, it's half and half on that stadium. It's unreal, man. It's fucking unreal. And you can see where it splits, the crimson and the burnt orange. Unbelievable.
I need to go. And then you can leave. You can leave to go to the fair, right? At halftime. You can do that. You can. Yeah. And this year they're actually going to do it at what? They're going to do a later game. So it'll be in the afternoon. Now the Cotton Bowl, where the fair is at, you don't want to be there after dark. So they're never going to make it into a night game there. So hot.
It is so hot. I would like that part. I would love that part that if it was a night game because of how damn hot it is.
I know. But
the morning games suck. And that's part of the reason that Oklahoma and Texas both wanted to get the fuck out of the Big 12 is because of all these noon games. The big noon shit just and Fox is dead set on putting their best games on at noon. So you're going to be on there a lot every year.
10 a.m. Mountain Time.
Yeah, no, and that's rough. That's rough.
But I will always take that over a 9 p.m. kickoff every single time.
Not a fan of the late night, Pac-12 after dark stuff.
I was 10 years ago. I just can't, maybe.
I think you're going to see some more of that though, because now the Pac-12's not there. I think it's going to happen.
I know. Hey, by the way, have you seen this strange contingency on Twitter where there's these Oregon State fans that are just adamant that they're going to be added to the sorry.
I do. I have seen
no Pullman, no
I do think that
Corvallis. No.
I think that does suck a little bit. But man, I gotta tell you, man, Pac-12 fans kind of lost me last year. They lost me over the last couple of years. Utah fans included. Good Lord.
Utah fans most included. They didn't even want to be in this conference. And here they are.
Out of control.
I can't wait for the Holy
I'm a huge Coach. I am a Coach Witt guy. I think he is that dude. I can't stand a lot of. I like the Wild Ute. He's always on with Big 12.
Yeah, Wild Ute.
I like Wild Ute. He's my boy. There's a lot of Utah fans that can kiss my ass. I don't like them. They have not endeared themselves well. They definitely come in being the heel. I think that probably works. I think that's good for everybody. But I think that, man, Arizona State kind of same. You know what I mean? Arizona fans weren't really like that as much. I know, but there was Colorado fans being like that too, by the way. There was a lot of Colorado fans.
I still think we will be the most hated. If there isn't a fan base in the Big 12 that hates us yet, they will hear very soon. We are a very obnoxious, very loud fan base, and you very rarely do you find people that feel indifferently about us right now, which is always nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I mean, I think there's going to be a level of there's going to be a lot of hate going towards. That's one thing. It's definitely a polarizing program.
Yes.
Right now in Boulder. There's nothing really wrong with that either.
No.
You know what I mean?
Because I like all the flash. I like feeling like the Miami Hurricanes, but we got to start winning like those old school.
Hey, you're gonna have to win. Yeah, well, right now you are winning like Miami. But
I got a bet with Coach Hayes this year on yeah.
I like Coach Hayes. He's a trip, dude. He's a good. I like his show.
I think we'll be getting together quite a bit during the season, but yeah, it's a fun bet. It's just straight up who will have the best record, Miami or Colorado. And so if Colorado does, Coach Hayes got to do a show with me with a CU helmet on. And if Miami has the better record, then I got to come on his show with the Miami Hurricane, be a Miami Hurricanes fanboy. It should be a fun little show.
I think that'll be fun.
I think they'll finish with similar records. That's just me.
Listen, I think that Miami's not. You got to prove the shit first, brother. You know what I mean? You got to prove the shit first.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah. I gotta know that Mario Cristobal can take a fucking knee when you got to win. You know, that's all I gotta say. You know, but Shotty will tell you he's. I don't know why Shotty's in love with Miami lately, but he is. They're getting better every year. It's relative. It's relative.
Cam Ward's a fun quarterback. Like I think they got lucky very good. JU
that just tells me they better win 10 games because they don't even have the toughest schedule over there, and I don't see them winning 10 games.
No,
I don't. I just don't. We know that Mario can recruit though.
But okay, so they went 7-5 last year. If they go 7-5, 8-4 this year, you think they keep Cristobal or do they fire him?
I think it starts burning up his seat if they lose in the swamp week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I think you got to be in the swamp week 1. I don't think Florida's as bad as everybody else thinks they are. But I could be wrong about that. But that being said, I don't think they're as bad as everybody thinks they are. And the swamp is one of the hardest places there is to play. And particularly week 1, everybody is going to be there. It's Miami. They're going to be there. They have a tough schedule. But yes, I think you lose that game. You start off on the bad foot. It's going to get very important for them to go and play for the ACC championship after that. If they lose that game, he better freaking win a lot of games. You win 9 games, they're probably not going to fire you. But I think his leash is definitely shorter. That's just my belief in it. I mean, the guy has to show that he can win. And we know that Miami's got a quick trigger.
Yeah, impatient fan base.
Absolutely. Impatient boosters that are in charge of this shit. You know what I mean?
Spit
what do you got going on there? You just spit?
Yeah. That was crazy. That's never happened before. It's like, what the hell is that?
On the damn thing. It's awesome. Miami schedule's way easier than CU's.
Yeah, we still got like 5 ranked programs. I do think we have an easier schedule than last year, but it's not by much.
You think you have an easier schedule than whose?
Than CU did last year. Yeah. At least the top end teams. I feel like we're not playing in Oregon this year. We're playing some very good teams, but I don't think we have an Oregon on the schedule.
No, you don't.
No.
You don't.
Which, by the way, I'm still adamant that Dylan Gabriel's going to end up a Heisman finalist. Am I crazy?
No. I think that the way that they do things there, and I don't think that for everybody that's talking about that the West Coast teams aren't going to be able to deal with like the power programs, and the way that they do things in the Big Ten, as I was saying a little earlier, that that Nebraska finishing 11th in the country on defense doesn't matter as much in view of the fact that there's no dynamic offenses except for Ohio State really in the Big Ten until now.
Mm-hmm.
Now you bring in, I think that Lincoln's offense and the Oregon offense are going to be a pain in the ass for everybody. Now, do I think there's some other things that adjustment-wise are going to probably hurt the West Coast teams?
Yeah.
Sure. But I would tell you that even with Jed Fish, they're going to be very good. It's going to take a year or two.
Yeah.
They're going to compete. UCLA, I'm not too high on right now. The way that things are going with it, if they're going to have to start sharing revenue with Cal and shit like that, it's not good.
It's a mess.
It's a basketball school, so
yeah, they don't care about football.
Yeah, they just like the money that they're getting from it. But I think that overall, and that's what this really was a money grab when you start looking at it, you know. In the end, I would tell you that I think that there's some things that I don't think much of the Big Ten anyway. I never really have. I think that Ohio State and Michigan are pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that, you know.
I've never understood how they've been able to pull collectively as a conference the money that they have. I think they just got great people.
Oh, they love them. They love them out there. They love them out there, no doubt.
Yeah.
We got a super chat here.
Oh, thanks, Fravel.
Yes, sir. Miami's schedule isn't easy. They lost to Georgia Tech. They canceled the Notre Dame game this year because they were scared to play in November. Miami. They didn't cancel Did they cancel the Notre Dame game? No shit. I didn't even realize that. Coach had something about my co-host on the night show that we do. Coach Roybal is a big Notre Dame fan, so I didn't realize that he hadn't said nothing about the Miami game.
You can't cancel the Notre Dame game. Come on, man.
Notre Dame's got a pretty light schedule this year, so I don't know how much you should be talking there, Fravel. So it's after that first game in College Station on the first weekend, then the next game that's really of significance, I guess, will be Louisville, and then they at one point you have 8 straight home games.
8 straight?
Mm-hmm. Notre Dame sure loaded it up in their favor. Thank you for the super chat, though. Let's see. Was it UCLA was good last season with Chip, but
they had
but none of those guys are there anymore. None of those guys are there anymore.
Out.
Yeah, Latu's there still, but the D coordinator left. Chip left. I guess the other better players that were on that UCLA defense are gone too.
There's their quarterback now.
Dante is gone to Oregon. Yeah, they're screwed.
Yeah.
UCLA's in trouble.
Do you think that DC saves Lincoln Riley another year?
And he may give him another year, but I'll tell you this much. Jen Cohen does not owe him shit. She didn't hire him.
No.
She don't mind firing him, and they got plenty of money out there to pay him off. If she really believes, I will tell you this. I think Jen Cohen's one of the better athletic directors in the country. She's not going to mess around with it. If she doesn't believe that they can win with him and that it's going to change, and here's why I think that it won't, is because why in the hell are you so heavy in Georgia right now when you're not winning Crenshaw High School? Look, you got to win California. You got to win your state no matter where the hell you are if you're going to be a winning college football program. The entire high school state, the state of California seems to be pissed off at Lincoln Riley the same way that Oklahoma high school coaches were when he was there. He doesn't pay the right amount of attention to the in-state kids. I'm going to tell you that the reason Oklahoma State got as good as they did was on Lincoln's watch. He was not recruiting them. Now Oklahoma's getting all the best Oklahoma kids, all of them. So it is what it is. I mean, the top 10 California, though, recruits, 4 of them are going to – it's either 4 going to Alabama or 5 going to Alabama, and the other 4 going to Oregon. That doesn't work.
Yeah, and I saw right now they got that 5-star quarterback is committed to A&M right now that they're trying to get back in good graces with. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the 26 kid is going to Oklahoma. And he's probably going to be a 5-star. He's a 4 right now, but he's probably going to be a 5-star. It's when now even quarterbacks are not hanging around there. This is not a good thing. If you're Lincoln Riley, you're losing. If you lose Juju Lewis to Colorado,
It better not be Indiana.
Oh,
if it's Indiana, everything went wrong. But I do think it's going to be
just happened there at Indiana. Then if they're getting him, because that must be a giant bag of cash.
Yeah, to me, it reminds me a lot of Jordan Seaton in Maryland. That kind of thing. I think he really likes the coach, but I just don't see you, if you're Juju Lewis, turning down Auburn, USC, and Colorado to go play at Indiana. Like I just don't see it.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see kind of what happens.
It's Indiana. Well, we'll see.
It is Indiana. I mean, it is Indiana. But I would tell you that I'm surprised. I mean, if we're talking about where he should be going, he's from the South. He's from Georgia. He's from Atlanta. Yeah, Juju. In that case, why isn't he going to Auburn when they really need a quarterback?
You think the weather's bad out here in the winter, man? How about Indiana?
Oh, bro. Yeah. It's like blowing ice. Ridiculous.
Yeah. You don't want to play at Indiana. Come on.
Oh, shit. No, you ain't a basketball player. Stay out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you do that? Notre Dame, maybe. But aside from that, nope. But I don't think that it surprises me that if it's clearly about money, because otherwise he's going to Auburn. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess. All the smoke. Benji's bringing it up. A Deuce Knight going to Auburn. Is that what everybody's saying?
I've been hearing Deuce Knight a little bit. Yes, to Auburn, but
man, hey, leave USC alone. They can't beat Notre Dame.
That's what he said.
I love the spin, Fravel.
Oh, that's funny. It's funny.
Yeah. They're going through a tough time right now. Can't beat
Notre
Dame.
I never had a problem with USC. I had never had a problem with USC until I have a problem with Lincoln. I'm glad he's gone from Oklahoma, but the way he left Oklahoma, fuck Lincoln. Yeah. And I think he's trash. I think that Notre Dame is going to beat that ass again this year. Because Notre Dame has one of the best defenses in the country, and USC is soft. That's just all there is to it. They are soft. That's real. Juju's dad is something else. A lot of their dads are something else. They're Benji. A lot of their dads are something else.
Yeah.
No, you won't be saying that for very long, though. You won't be saying that for very long because you're going to get beat more by this one. You had a chance with Lincoln. They weren't going to play defense. So, it is what it is. I don't know what's going to happen with all these guys. We'll see what happens with all this.
Do you think like because in the NFL, it's a big deal with like the West Coast teams going to play the East Coast and like them always playing below what, you expect. Do you think that's going to be something that might factor in with these West Coast Big Ten teams traveling east?
I do think that's an adjustment for them. I think that you could lose games. I think that's when you have to start. Look, when USC is USC, they start on defense too, bro. Let's just be real. All winning college football teams start there. You can win football games. You're not winning championships if you're not playing defense.
Right.
You're just not. And if you think about USC, when peak as good as they were with Reggie and Matt Leinart and, Carson Palmer and those guys offensively, they were way better on defense. They were just better on defense. That's all there was to it. Yeah, run along.
The brand has finally returned. Your brand.
See you later, Benji. He's actually a member of the show. We give him shit, but I actually like Benji. He earned his time out earlier saying he played both ways in high school like he's the same as Travis Hunter. Fuck out of here.
That probably meant something different when he played too, right? You know,
he might have.
Both ways.
He is from Texas. He is from Austin. I'm just playing.
That's funny, man.
I like him. He's funny, man. He can take the heat. He dishes it, so he's gonna get it back, no doubt.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
Yeah, but no, I do think so. What do you think? I think it's gotta hurt you, and that's a lot. The travel itself, in and of itself, I think is tough,
dude. It's just,
and
I think it's very tough.
About their big noon games, because they're gonna happen. That's 9 in the morning at USC.
I know,
for all of them, all four.
Yeah, it's insane, and it's crazy when you look at college football 10 years ago, 15 years ago, like, and where it's at now, man. Right? It's I do wonder if at some point we would see maybe like a return, because like I don't know, how much does Ohio State and Michigan, are they cool with like propping up these schools that are doing absolutely nothing for them, like Rutgers or whatever, and where these guys will just want to like eat?
You know how long Rutgers and Maryland waited for freaking 10 years to get the full amount of money for being in the Big Ten?
Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, wow.
They hadn't got, this is I think this year is the first time they'll ever get a full share.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. But yeah, the travel's so stupid. I wish we could return to more regionality in it, but I don't think we're ever going back.
Put that dude in timeout. That's a lie. It's a lie. Put his ass in timeout.
Blame OU and Texas. Now you can blame Texas for it. The Longhorn Network. That's what started it all.
Listen, and I'll tell you the other thing. The Pac-12 screwed themselves. That clusterfuck of people that run the Pac-12 and their media people that were passing on this stupid ass stuff. The idea, and the presidents of the schools, to be honest with you, for them to sit there and not take the deal, overvaluing themselves and sticking to their guns, and then all the shit they talked. And listen, as much as I haven't been very happy with the way that things ended in the Big 12 and Brett Yormark, but Brett Yormark extended them an olive branch and gave them an opportunity. The truth is, the Big 12 should have died instead of the Pac-12, because the way it had been handled, everything had to go the exact way that it went for the Big 12 to not be the conference that killed. No doubt about that, because the last two commissioners of the Big 12 were trash, period. They were completely reactive, didn't have a thought going on about doing anything proactively, making the conference better. When you could have had your national championship if you'd had TCU in that damn playoff that year, that they didn't have a fucking game and it left TCU out. They'd have beaten everybody's ass. They were that good. They were that good. When they had to share that with Baylor, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Stupidest thing. And you literally shot yourself in the foot. Oh, will do. And didn't add teams when it was the stupidest. Dan Beebe is the one that allowed it to turn into that. Yes. Because he knew what was coming with the Longhorn Network and didn't say a fucking thing. That got him fired. But I got to tell you, the next guy wasn't any better. Wasn't any better. They just sat there and took their big paycheck and did jack shit. It just not. Now, I think Brett Yormark is very smart. I think he's doing things the only way that you can. I don't know how much it's going to really matter. I think in the end, when they decide it needs to go to two big conferences, you're going to go to two big conferences. I don't know. Which in that case, then it turns into some kind of a pod system or whatever the hell it is, and you play probably like the old system, where it's
more regional teams,
Pac and the Big 8 and Southwest Conference. It's going to probably turn back to the way it was. The more things change, the more they turn the same as they once were. I think at some point that's going to happen. But I also think that you can't just. I think Neilio's probably said this as well as anybody. When you are only led by just money, it's going to fuck you in the end. At some point, it has to be about something more than just money.
Do you think the Big 12 will end up taking on private equity? Or how do you feel about that?
The Big 10 or the Big 12?
Or the Big 12, yeah.
Big 12, yeah, I think they have to.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, man, to see like
what they try to do. Behind. You can do 10 million. You can do 10 million, 15 million behind. You can't do 30 and 40. You can't.
No.
Because here's the deal. What people are they're saying right now, it's 22 million on this salary or whatever that they're giving. That's at 10%, and that's assuming that everybody that's at or whatever that. I guess it's 20%. 20%. That's assuming that everybody makes 100 million in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what Big Ten and SEC schools are making.
Yeah,
it's not. And it's sure as shit not going to be once the revenue jumps now, because it's going to jump huge. And the Big 12 and the ACC were forced to take a smile. You know, Notre Dame doesn't have to take. Coach says it all the time. We're not going to go anywhere until they make us, and they gave them 1% of the playoff. 1% of $1 billion. That's freaking like. Well, 1% would be.
It's like 100 million.
Of 100 million per year. So it's a mil. It's
10 million.
Yeah, of 100 million, it's like whatever it is. It's $10 million. Yeah, it's $1 billion a year, and it is $1 billion a year. So it's 1% of that, which means that they're getting 10. They're getting an extra 10. They're already getting 65 from NBC, so they're right there with the SEC. It'll continue to go up for them. Notre Dame's not left out of shit. People hate that, but they're not going to get left out of shit.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to. Would the Big Ten love to have Notre Dame? Now they would. Yeah. Now they would. So would the SEC. It's Notre Dame. It's a brand. The brand says that that's why I've been telling people in here that they're saying, well, because that schedule sucks, 10-2 may not get them in. Bullshit. 10-2 gets Notre Dame in the dance. You bet your ass it will.
The brand, the view, all that sort of stuff. It all matters.
Ratings. It's money. Right now it's driven by money.
Yes.
That's all there is to it. Until people stop watching it for the way it is, which isn't happening. Not right now anyway. Until that happens, it's going to continue, and it's only going to get bigger and more money. And so, to me, there's no way that they leave a 10-2 Notre Dame. I don't give a shit how crappy their schedule is. If they're 10-2, they're going to be in the tournament. Period. Plain and simple.
The one thing they need to get rid of is that G5 spot, that guaranteed
Absolutely.
G5
what
spot,
good does that do anybody? What are we doing? I don't know what good it does to G5 people.
I know.
I don't think it does. What, to go get rolled? What
it's
for?
A totally different game.
You're going to be the last place team going to probably the 5 seed, which Notre Dame, that's the spot they want Notre Dame to get every year. And so it means that you go to their place and freeze your ass off and get drugged by 60. Bad deal.
Oh, man. They need to get rid of it. So the Cinderella story is nice, but that's for non-conference parts of the schedule.
Well, Jimmy Lee's right. He said it's only a matter of time before some universities, they're going to have to opt out of the whole system part of it and play more of that G5 type of deal.
Yeah.
In order to, if you don't take on that private equity, the Big 12 schools will take it on because they care about football.
Yeah.
But I think that there's programs, there's certain programs that may or may not, though. You know, I don't know how many of them necessarily do it, but I do believe that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that how many of the schools that may not, you hear that Arizona's in a lot of financial trouble. So can they do it? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how they make it work, but do you think with private equity, the Big 12 legitimately could go after some of the big fish in the ACC, or is that more of a pipe dream to you?
I think that turns into uneven revenue, which will piss a lot of people in the Big 12 off. But you're hearing a lot of people, and that was a lot of the reason that everybody hated Texas so much. But that there was uneven revenue in that because of
used to be in the pack.
Well, they were. Well, no, they were pissed off at Texas because of the Longhorn Network basically creating an uneven revenue stream.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why you saw Nebraska leave. That's why you saw Colorado leave.
Yeah.
Mizzou, A&M. That's why they left. They definitely weakened it. But oddly enough, I haven't heard many Big 12 fans complaining about the idea of paying FSU and Clemson double to get them to come. Now that they're trying to survive.
Yeah.
I don't know that you do that, but I heard Bomber talking about that on the shows. That do it.
Man, I would just find
that much revenue to the fold. I don't know.
Yeah,
but if they do, why? And you're the ACC, why don't you just do the same?
Right. To me, I think it would be hilarious. They're making all this fuss just to join the Big 12.
Yeah, I don't think that's really what's going to happen. I think that FSU and Clemson will find a home in one of the two big boy conferences because of their brands. I think they will. So this is why you're hearing the Big 12 say, "Yeah, we'll pay more." Okay. And if you're smart and you are getting to where you're going to be pretty much on par with an SEC or Big 10 school and you don't take the Big 12, then you're a dumbass if you're Florida State and Clemson, because you can theoretically make the playoff at least 2 or 3 times out of 5. Theoretically, right? You still have to go do it. But it's definitely a lot easier road than it is in the SEC.
No doubt.
So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that college football is the problem. The biggest thing from what I don't like about it, I don't like losing rivalries, and I think that you're going to see more and more of those things happen. It's going to happen. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State ain't doing it. It's because Gundy's weak, but you don't have to play it, so he's not gonna. And you always find it. You got Lincoln Riley trying to weasel out of the freaking Notre Dame game now.
Terrible.
You know what I mean? He's scared as shit of the SEC, and he's now even making excuses to try to get out of Notre Dame. Now, I don't know how many of the people at USC are going to allow such a thing. They're going to be like, "You out of your fucking mind?"
Yeah.
And it looks so weak, bro. It looks so weak. Such a weak move. But they're convinced that it's such a harder conference than what they've been in the pack. And okay, bro. You added 2 tough schools to the mix, but you got rid of Utah on your schedule already, and they were kicking your ass every year. And then,
Oregon State was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. But the travel is what it is on that deal. I don't know how you. Again, USC killed all of that. Those conferences were going to stay together until SC and UCLA left.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
What's up,
You
Todd?
think they're actually for? I don't think they're for that, bro.
No.
Yeah, we will pay more. We need private equity fast. Anybody else see a problem there? Oh, I think it's a problem. I'm not saying that it's a good idea. I'm telling you that right now, this is where this inequity has this lust for that. And I think ESPN, look, you got to blame a lot of this on the networks, because that's a lot of what it is. It's turned into, it's a huge money grab. And not to mention the conferences, man, they love their blood money. They love it. They love it. They love it. They've sold their soul for this money, for the playoff money, and they want their check. But It's certainly not the same as it'll never be the same again. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not. As long as people continue watching it, they can turn it into the NFL. They don't give a shit. You're going to lose a certain segment of the fan bases, but I don't know that you lose enough of it. Because to be honest with you, most people are casual anyway. They watch whenever their teams are good, or you know what I mean, or because it's on. But they're not. Not everybody's like us that we follow everybody everywhere. You know what I mean? We pay attention, but I don't know that. The money's the money, but it is kind of a Ponzi scheme. That's fairly wrong.
It'll be entertaining either way. However it goes, it'll be fun to watch.
Well, doesn't provide anything to them anymore. Yeah, it provides them an ass whipping is what it is, and they're worried about that. They're listening to their weak sauce ass coach. I look, right now they are in defense mode. I'll tell you that. This is not what I've ever thought of USC, and I'm not saying I was ever a huge fan of USC or anything like that. I respected them. I have very little respect for this program right now. I'm a fan of USCJ. He's my boy. Yeah. Lincoln has turned them.
Stocks going down.
Turn them
year
soft.
After year. Yes.
So, what do you say? Yep. The day or time of the diehard fan is slowly dwindling. Yeah, it is because, well, we're all dying. Everybody's dying. You know what I mean? There's gonna come a point 20 years down the road where most people weren't alive when it was that way. So it's history to me. I mean, if you're hearing a lot of SC fans saying that, it's because they don't know what that meant anymore. Yeah, they do love those 11 a.m. kickoffs. Have fun with that. It's actually 10 a.m. for Mountain fans.
Oh yeah, it's 10 a.m. man. But again, I'll still take that over the 9 p.m. kickoffs. Just ridiculous. But neither of them are ideal.
Well, and I think that's one of the ways that the Big 12 is, and I see them doing this. I think this is a smart move by them, is that they're willing to start making some moves as far as, I like the Thursday night games. I like the idea that they came out with about playing a Sunday night game. Why not?
Interesting.
This idea that you can't go up against the NFL is kind of stupid to me. It's one game. It is. Because if you're doing a late one, because that's a late night game anyway, or you could even start it an hour earlier. College football fans are college football fans. Big 12 fans are Big 12 fans. And you know who you're not battling against? The rest of Saturday in the SEC.
Yeah, I guess you do have about an hour and a half or so when the afternoon games end and before Sunday night football kicks off. It could be a nice little window.
Why not? And I mean, it's over by halftime. You can still watch the NFL game, but a lot of times the Sunday night game hasn't been as good lately as it used to be.
I think that's fair.
Again, I don't know that it matters. I think that you're going to get about the same amount as you would get going up against the SEC. And to be honest with you, you need to be seen more. Being on regular TV that you can be found is probably more important than going up against the NFL. That's just my opinion. This is something I saw, but I saw what's his name talking about that. I think that you have to be flexible and be willing to do that. I think the Friday night games are smart.
Yeah. I like the Thursday night. I feel like that's probably even better to go because those matchups with the NFL are just always dog shit. So, yeah, I love the fact that we open up on Thursday night. I think that's fun, but I wouldn't mind to see more Thursday games.
I think that the idea that Wilner had was he was saying to do it really late. Okay, and I'm okay with that too. On Sunday nights, late nights, maybe you do a handful of weeks. You don't have to do it every weekend, but a handful of games that start at 9 Eastern. That's still, that's 6 on the West Coast. It doesn't hurt anything. Maybe that's, you know what I mean? That's not terrible. Because of the fact that, and by then, 9 Eastern, we're talking the game is getting over with, the Sunday night NFL game. Mm-hmm. So you're not really having to go up against them. And the truth is, the East Coast is not watching the freaking Big 12 anyways. On the grander scheme of things, the Big 12 fans will watch it. They will watch it. it'll be a lot more popular. The late night that Pac-12 After Dark game will be a lot better as the Big 12 After Dark. It will, because they'll watch it more.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
There's only a few fan bases that really watched college football lately in the Pac-12. That's just truth. Outside of the Oregon schools, I know that they hadn't been watching it at CU until Coach Prime got there, but Utah definitely filled up them stadiums. Arizona did pretty good most of the time. Arizona State struggled to fill up their stadium a lot though too, but in the USC, the LA teams don't fill up shit. They're not going to fill it up with Big Ten teams either.
Yeah,
they don't care about that shit. It is what it is. Wait, that means College Game Day will have more people watching than Big 12 10 a.m. games? Well, no, it's 10 a.m. in the Mountain Time Zone is what we were saying. It's still at
yeah. We still have College Game Day before that kickoff, so they'll be watching all of it.
So yeah, it is what it is.
Really quick, I want to address this question, Todd. I'm really optimistic this year.
Who is it, Todd?
We've addressed the O-lines and man, my hope again for Colorado is that we get to average. Like, I know that's probably not a sexy take, but if we can just get to average defensive line and offensive line play, like that can make a significant difference in the record.
It's a little overused in the Big 12. I mean, not everybody. You don't have to be as big, but it's going to help.
I mean, we're not starting 280-pound guards. That's huge. Well, we'll see what right tackle looks like. That's still the biggest.
You have a good offensive line coach. I can tell you that.
Yeah, we have somebody who's competent, that actually coaches, that doesn't bitch. So we've really upgraded with Coach Loldholt.
No doubt. Big Phil's a good dude.
Yes, and the guys he's bringing in, recruiting, it's a totally different specimen type of athlete guy that he's brought in compared to last year. And
he can, and I mean, the thing about Big Phil is that, he can recruit them and he can develop them. The guys that, that's the main. A lot of people, you get so hung up on stars and all that shit and more, bro. Bill Beatonbow makes a lot of 3 stars, a lot of money.
Yeah. The biggest thing that I want to see this team play like this year in the trenches, can we play like a team that's on steroids this year? We didn't play on a team that, acted like they were on steroids last year. I want to be mean, badass, physical, all that, and for people to say they're on steroids. That's the biggest compliment for this.
Colorado line. That's called not being Riley soft. That's all that is. Don't be Riley soft.
Yeah.
Or Texas soft. All right, man. I gotta get out of here. I got some shit I gotta do.
I should probably get back to work, but
it's a lot of fun, man. Nah, we can definitely I like talking and all that stuff, so it's all good. But I gotta get out here and get some stuff done. So
okay. Thanks everybody for the super chats and
no doubt.
Coming over from my channel. Y'all be sure to subscribe to Jason.
Yeah, man. We are way behind you, bro. I hadn't even hit 4 yet. You're over 7,500. What a deal, man. You have killed it on your channel.
Thanks. I've sold my soul. Man. So that's the key. Clickbaity titles.
Gotta do it.
Gotta talk about the drama.
Hey, as long as you talk about the things as long as you talk about the things that are in your title, it's okay if it's clickbait.
That's what I try and do. Yeah. It's a hard mix to find or balance to find.
Sometimes it is, but the thing is making a clickbait title that doesn't mirror what's in the video will hurt you on YouTube. So it's clear that you're doing it right. So no,
thank you.
I've always said you're doing a great job with it. I enjoy having you on. We're gonna have to get together more, man.
Yes, and we'll have more wins to talk about hopefully this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun, dude. I think everybody is gonna be. I think everybody's going to be a little surprised about what's going on. I would tell you that I've said this a lot lately, is that it's easy to move the goalposts a lot with Colorado, but you got to remember that they are improved from a year ago. I think they improve again. At minimum, I think they win 6. I'll pick them to win 7. I think they win 7. So, and if you can get a guy like Juju Lewis, that signals that Coach Prime's staying, less instability, things can change.
Yes.
That's what has to happen. Now, I think that he needs to do better about high school recruiting and not be so heavy in the portal, but that's just me.
Yes.
I don't know I don't know if that was just because his kids are there and he was wanting to do that right now. Maybe his philosophy changes a bit once they're gone.
Totally. We'll have to see. But you're right. It does start with the quarterback.
It does. It always starts with quarterback, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this is what it is. Brother, thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, Jason. Looking forward to it. Thanks again to everybody in the comments. This was wonderful.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you, man. Have a good one.
Let's go, Buffs. See ya. Boomer.
David, again, from the Talks Bus. I appreciate you coming in and joining us, man. And Neilio, you're a trip. Appreciate you guys a lot. Appreciate you guys a lot for sticking with me. We've been going for about 3 hours, though. I got to get out of here. Got some stuff I got to get done. Make sure that if you hadn't hit that like button, and I haven't even checked, but I hope you guys have, hit that like button. Go over. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, you should definitely get over. He doesn't hide from the fun stuff. He definitely will get in there and talk about whatever's going on. So I'm a fan of his channel. It's always been really good. Good guy too, man. But he goes on with Coach I a lot too. So, a lot of these guys do work with us, and we enjoy having them on the show. I appreciate that. We'll have to take a look at that, Neilio. Appreciate it. And people with channel switching anyway. There you go. A lot of channel switching, a lot of that kind of stuff. Mr. Kerwin, I need to holler at you pretty soon. Appreciate you coming in. Make sure you jump over there, hit the like button on his channel as well. We have had about 400 viewers, and we have 27 likes. Fellas, you guys are killing me here. Come on now. Help us out. Hit the damn like button. Appreciate it. All right, guys. All right. Appreciate everybody coming in. We will check out our merch store. You can always go to MailReg for your performance golf attire. And look, if you're not trying out Mint Mobile because you're just used to paying too much money, you're crazy. It's worth doing it. $45 for 3 months of unlimited talk, text, and data on the T-Mobile network. So it's the largest 5G network in the country. Get in there and check it out. You don't have to switch phones. Just give it a shot. Try mintmobile.com/HOF. The free way to support the program. Hit the like button. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody coming in. See you all on the next one.